Hello, my name is Dr. Dan Riley, and I serve as the head of school of Inverness Christian Academy, a private K-12 school in Central Florida.
Hello, I'm Brenda Riley. I'm our Director of Special Education at Inverness Christian Academy, where my husband and I actually developed that department years ago when we needed education for our son.
Also the parent of a special needs student, which is partially why my wife and I got involved in special education.
So the first steps that we took to starting a special education program in our school stemmed from a need to educate our own son. We looked 3 counties wide, and there was no Christian school that offered a special education program. At that point, we even looked at maybe a charter school, something that would just be smaller than a public school, and they didn't exist either for special education at that time. So we are a Christian school. As a ministry of a church. So we went to our pastor and said, we would really like to open up a special ed department within our school, specifically so we could educate our own son, but also others. And he was 100% on board. The church was 100% on board. We had so much support in starting that part of our school. When we started simple, we started small. We hoped for maybe 6 students. Our son needed education on a much higher level. We knew we wouldn't be ready for him the first year. So we started small with just taking some speech students who needed therapy with speech. We started with 6 students. By the end of the year, we had 12 students. The next year, God blessed, it doubled. And before we knew it, we were on target for Kendall, our son, to come to our school well before the date that we had projected he'd be able to come with a full-blown special education program. So it was stepping out on faith, stepping out to fulfill a need, having a great group of people back us and support us. And from there, we just went simply, we went slowly, but God made it work and provided. And we are now 13 years into having this education, special education in our school.
I believe God did not make mistakes when He created disabled students. Psalm 139:14 specifically states, "I will praise Thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are Thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well." And this affirms everyone's unique value. Every individual God created, including those with disabilities, are precious in His sight. And then 1 Corinthians 12:22 says, "Nay, much more, those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary." And this reminds us that those who may seem weaker are very important to the body of God. No, God did not make any mistakes when He made anyone. He made me with certain gifts, but He made my son with certain gifts as well. And they're just different gifts.
One of the beautiful things about watching inclusion happen in a private school is where the students that are mainstream include our students who are self-contained. And in one particular instance, some of the high school boys realized that this young man from the self-contained classroom, they would see him out on the court when they would be out in some free time. They realized he had this perfect shot. And if they could get him to that point on the basketball court, he would make the shot 100% of the time. So they invited him to join the basketball team. He was so excited. He'd never been invited to do anything group-like before. And they worked their plays around getting the ball to this young man at that one spot of the court. And that is the one year our basketball team went to the championships with an actual opportunity to win it. It was the best year our basketball team had, and I can't help but think it's because they included this young man.
Living with a child or even an adult with special needs definitely is not boring. We'll just put it that way. Someone can't just expect a disabled child to act, to think, to do exactly what everyone else in their life does. Different is what you need to have in your minds when you are living with someone like that. There may be tantrums. There may be just not understanding things like time and space and distance and all those types of things, or be able to have some logic. Sometimes those things don't exist at all. And so, but the big thing is you teach them Jesus, and they love you, they love Jesus, and those are the important things that matter. All the other things, really, you can educate along the way.
You ask if, what are we the most proud of? I would have to say the fact that it was not of anything that we did other than being willing servants ready to educate students.
I hope that the legacy that I leave and my wife leaves, and all those who are kind of family with us in the teaching of the disabled children area, I pray that the legacy is that more schools and individuals will be open to educating, more Christian schools will be open to educating students with special needs. When I first did my study in 2020 of my dissertation, only about 11% of Christian schools were claiming to have a special needs program. Fortunately, just 4 or 5 years later, that number is jumping up to about 25%. And so I want the legacy to be, we did something to something to inspire others to be able to say, yes, I'm going to do that in my school. I'm going to do that in my home. I'm going to do that in my church, and include disabled children, disabled adults, disabled individuals altogether. So I want the legacy to be that we did something to change what had been done in the past to the betterment of God's glory.